I'd like to thank Juliet Peters of Framework Legal for joining us on this Delta Business Bite about legal landmines, also known as contract gotchas.
Indemnification. Most business owners do not understand indemnifying, and it becomes very, very problematic if not done correctly.
So there's a lot of industries where what I'm about to say in terms of indemnification don't apply, but generally the indemnification is the fact that I am saying I'm going to do something for you, right? And while I'm doing it, if something goes wrong, right, that's not going to be your responsibility. That's going to be my responsibility, right? There's lots of loss shifting, in terms of insurance and all the things that go with indemnification. But basically, indemnification is saying, if you screw something up while you're doing something under this contract, that's on you. Mm-hmm. In most contracts, indemnification should always be two-way, right? You should be making promises to warrant your work, and the other person should be making promises. Things that you have to think about with respect to indemnification is, if you're going on someone else's property to do the work, well, they should be indemnifying you for that, right? For the physical part of that, not for the work, but for your physical safety, right? So these can go, they can get very, very detailed, but the bottom line is it's a risk shifting mechanism, indemnity. And it's a bargain that you're making with the person you are contracting with to who bears the responsibility when something goes wrong. That's indemnity in a nutshell. Who bears the responsibility? And in most two-way indemnification sort of language, you bear the responsibility for what you're in charge of, and the other party bears the responsibility for what they're in charge of. And then, it can get more complicated from there. But the one thing I will say about indemnity is indemnity means nothing if there aren't insurance provisions in the agreement. Because it's one thing to require someone to promise that they're going to take the responsibility for a claim that's filed against you because of them, right? And it's another thing for them to have the financial wherewithal to do it. And so it's really important that if you are relying on indemnity, you also have an insurance provision that backs that up. So that at the end of the day, if the poop hits the fan, there is some ability to back that up from a financial perspective. Sometimes you can't shift risk. I'll tell you, just in a transaction that I'm doing right now, there are sometimes regulatory requirements that you can't really shift the risk on because they can't be solved by money. Indemnity really is only right as a risk and reward sort of shift if it can be cured monetarily. Does that make sense? If money will fix the problem, indemnity often works. If money doesn't fix the problem, like for example, an ROC license, you failed to do, to take a condition or do a condition related to the license, you can't fix that with money.